Hey peeps, Erin Zen Warrior here. How are we all doing? So here's a fun topic. Don't forget to like, comment, do all the fun stuff. Subscribe if you'll follow along if you haven't already. Here's a fun topic. I was having a great chat last week with one of my clients, and we were talking about how she struggles to uphold certain things for herself because of her child, and she has a 3-year-old. And this is such a common area for all people. People do this in relationship, people do this with their family, and absolutely probably the biggest trap you're ever going to come across is when you give birth to a child. And absolutely, I've seen fathers do this too, and it can come out of several different places. But what we need to understand first of all about guilt is a very tricky ego. And people are like, ego? What do you mean? I love my child dearly. I'm doing it for my child. Are you? Are you really? When you feel guilty, and you do something because you feel guilty that alleviates your guilt, are you doing it for anyone else other than you? And why do you feel guilty? Well, because someone or a society told you, do you hear the common denominator going on here? Told you that you should do this in order for you to be a good mama, or you to be a good partner, or you to be good in any way, shape, or form. And so it's all about you. And actually life is all about you. And that a lot of parents would argue with me here, and I totally understand. I'm not a parent. I did, however, look after my cat like it was my only baby in the world, but it's not the same thing, right? It is not the same thing, because you gave birth to that child, and that is something else that really physically ties you into things. And here's the thing about physicality, is that because you don't relate to other people. I mean, I know people who didn't even like children until they had their own, but it's very different when it's your own, when you have that physical connection to it. And this is the trick of physicality as well, right? Is that you relate to it again through the physical, through an understanding of death, through the fear system of your own body. And that can create, when you're a parent, that can create a really different connection and obligation. But here's the reality. All of our parents did stuff for us out of obligation and out of guilt. And all of them think we owe them something because of that. And when we do the same thing in relationship, which as the ultimate measure, I've definitely done that. I have definitely done something out of obligation ultimately because I felt I had to in order to keep what I needed in that relationship. When you're a mum, it's because, as I go back to my little rant before, it's because you're being judged by society. And that happens a lot to mothers. Like the second they're pregnant, they're judged for everything that they do. And honestly, it makes me want to punch society in the face. How dare they judge you for anything? You are growing a small child inside of you. You are intuitively moving with your own body. Nothing changes for me there. Your intuition is paramount over anybody else's thoughts when it comes to your body, especially when you are pregnant. And there was a whole season of gaslighting people into taking a certain little vaccine back in the day when they were pregnant as well. And I know people who took that because they got discombobulated and they deeply regretted it after. Now, I'm not passing judgment on the thing itself. I'm saying that when you, in the hands of a mother, as a society, push them and against their own intuition, you're creating a fracture in that, or you're helping to create a fracture in that person. But also as the person who makes the decision against themselves because they've been obligated or guilted or shamed or whatever it is, especially when you're a mother, you're particularly vulnerable, and especially when you're pregnant, you're particularly vulnerable to this stuff. You are also going against yourself. And yet you're doing it because there is a programming and a conditioning that you have taken on against yourself, and you are trying to alleviate that feeling. So ultimately you are doing it for yourself. No matter how the outside world is affecting you, you are still trying to alleviate an icky feeling. But see, if we can get a grasp of what it means to feel guilty, what is actually the play of the ego, and how that is ultimately societal conditioning manipulating you, and you are acting out of guilt to relieve yourself of the feeling, not for the other. And then as parents have done, as partners have done, as family has done, as society has done, because you give something up you didn't actually want to give up, but you gave it up out of guilt to alleviate that feeling. Isn't that a cool trick? Did you guys follow that one? I don't know if I did. To alleviate that feeling, you now feel they fucking owe you something. and therein lies the trick. And this is what I said to the mum that I was talking to last week. I said, see, when you do things out of obligation for your child, they become indebted to you. And you never want to do that to your child, because there are a lot of children out there that hate their parents for exactly that, right? Because they never asked you to do that. They never asked you to self-sacrifice for them. And here's the interesting thing, whatever relationship we're talking about here, and whoever you are listening to this, when you self-sacrifice for the other, and it's really about you, because it always is, right? That's the truth. That's the trick of the ego there. And the ego is a tricky little bugger. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing you that it doesn't exist. And I listen to a lot of people tell me how they're not the way they were all the time. And I'm like, be very careful of that, because we always carry our shadows. The question is, how smart are you to keep an eye on them? No matter how clever you get at watching them, you must always be aware they find new ways to get you. That's the devil for you, right? So when you do all of that, and you sacrifice yourself like that, and you obligate the other, you create a situation where it gets very nasty very quickly. And actually, the greatest thing you can do for anyone in a relationship, and this is where I was going before, is you uphold your boundaries. You act in accordance with your internal authority. Some of you have external authorities, but only like 3% of you. So most of you, you act in accordance with your internal authority. And you honor it, and you honor it radically, and you step beyond the guilt, understanding that it is a trick. You have been conned. You've been conned by the society, by the family you grew up in, by all of that. And that when you hear that guilt come up, understand that you are getting an opportunity to take a step back and look at your conditioning and see that what you think is right is part of what society decided was right in this particular period. Go back 400 years and see if they still thought it was right then. Go forward 400 years and still see if they think it was right then. You know, the truth is, when you honor yourself, when you are radically responsible for yourself and you take care of yourself, you are teaching the people around you, including your children, something that they are not going to learn from society, which is what it is to differentiate, what it is to be an individual, what it is to radically love yourself beyond whatever anybody else is saying, because your authority, your reality and the way your intuition works is guiding you to something that is beyond the mental. It can take you where you need to go if you trust it, but you all have to learn how to trust it. And most of you have to get re-embodied to even feel it properly, because a lot of you got stuck here, and a lot of you have also gotten stuck here in the love game. And that's not to say you're not trying. You absolutely are. You're absolutely trying to come back to your hearts. But until you descend down and you reroot and lock into your root chakra and really ground and get rid of some of your tribal obligation, which is where all this guilt shit comes from, and that is what the root chakra represents. Before you reconcile that, you cannot come up into what it is to be the love. And when you be the love, you radiate it everywhere. And your children will rise in that frequency in a way that you have never seen children rise. So this is wildly magical stuff. This is love magic. This is frequency magic. And you have been schooled against it because it makes you so fucking powerful that if everyone was doing this, the world would look so fucking different. I can't even explain to you what it would look like, because it's only in my wildest dreams I can even picture what the buildings would look like, let alone anything else, and how everyone would radiate in health towards each other. I hope this was interesting. I look forward to hearing whatever you guys want to comment. Don't forget to like, follow, do all the things. And please, whether it's in the comments or privately behind the scenes, please do comment and share with me your stories. I respect that when you comment behind the scenes that those are private stories. I would never want to share your name attached to those stories. But I may use the story as an anecdote. But by all means, I don't need to do that, and you can always put that forward as well. but of course, incognito. Some of your stories are some of the, like, the most inspiring things I get to hear in my day are some of the stories you guys share. And I think that they can help inspire others. So if you don't want that, just go, hey, privately and not to be shared. Because sometimes you don't want to hear that reflection out in the public world, even if your name isn't attached. Have a great day. Erin Zemwari signing out. Lovely to see you guys here. See you on the upside.